Welcome to The Explainer. We're digging into a physics paper today that honestly reads more like a cosmic detective story. It tackles one of the biggest questions you can even ask, and the answer it finds is, well, it's completely mind-bending. So let's just dive right in. Think about the fundamental rules of reality, like gravity, the thing that's literally holding you in your chair right now. Was that just a lucky roll of the cosmic dice? Or is it possible that these laws are somehow inevitable, woven into the very logic of existence itself? To get to the bottom of this, we're going to look at a really clever method physicists use. You can think of it like a cosmic stress test. They basically try to break the universe on purpose, just to see what its limits are. They're looking for a crack in the fabric of reality. So here's how they do it. They imagine a particle that could exist. They build a whole theory around it, and then they check very carefully to see if that new theory violates any of the universe's absolute non-negotiable laws. If it does, well, then that particle simply can't exist. Okay, so let's meet our main character. This is a theoretical particle that was proposed in a paper in the Journal of High Energy Physics. In our little detective story, this particle is the prime suspect. Let's pull up the suspect's file. We're talking about a hypothetical, pretty heavy particle that barely interacts with anything around it. And it has this weird quantum property called spin 3/2. Now, you don't need to be a quantum physicist here. Just remember that this specific property, that's the key clue. That's what ends up causing this massive, universe-breaking problem. I mean, really, what's the big deal? It's just one tiny theoretical particle, right? Well, it turns out that its very existence would shatter one of the most fundamental rules of the cosmos, a rule that you absolutely, under no circumstances, can break. So to understand the crime, you gotta understand the law. And this is a big one. It's a principle called positivity. Positivity is actually way simpler than it sounds. All it means is that the probability of something happening can't be a negative number, right? The chance can be 100%, it can be 1%, it can even be 0 if it's flat out impossible. But it can never, ever be minus 20%. That's just nonsense. You should really think of this as the universe's ultimate BS detector. It's this deep, fundamental law that ensures cause and effect work properly. Without it, reality would just unravel. Everything would become a chaotic mess. Okay, so back to our particle. When the physicists did the math, the conclusion was totally unambiguous. If you have a universe with just this spin 3/2 particle in it, that universe is impossible. It becomes completely nonsensical. And here's the smoking gun. The equations showed that if this particle existed, its interactions would create negative probabilities, events that have less than a 0% chance of happening. This doesn't just bend the rules of physics, it snaps the whole foundation of logic in half. It seems like an open and shut case, right? The particle's impossible, it can't exist, story's over. But this is exactly where our detective story takes a brilliant, unexpected turn. See, the researchers found something absolutely wild buried in their calculations. A loophole. The theory could be saved from collapsing into nonsense, but only, and I mean only, if one very specific, very important condition was also met. To fix the broken math, to restore order and logic to the universe, a hero had to enter the scene. And it's a hero that all of us know very, very well. So check this out. On its own, the suspect particle creates a paradox. It breaks reality. But when the physicists added a second particle into their equations, a little thing called the graviton, which is the particle that carries the force of gravity, everything just clicked. The negative probabilities vanished. Causality was preserved. The universe suddenly made sense again. And here it is, the big reveal summed up by the authors themselves. Now that phrase, S-matrix consistency conditions, that's just a fancy way of saying the rules for a universe that makes sense. So what they're saying is that for our weird little particle to exist without wrecking everything, gravity has to exist too, just to balance the cosmic books. Gravity isn't some random accident. It's required. It's bootstrapped. It's literally pulled into existence by the universe's demand for logic. Okay, so let's step back for a second, because what this all means for the bigger picture, it's just staggering. This one thought experiment suggests that our universe isn't just a random pile of forces and particles. It seems to be a deeply interconnected, logical system, almost like it has a built-in, self-correcting code. Here, just the possibility of a particle like this demands the necessity of a force like gravity. And what's really cool is that the specific math they used points straight towards these bigger, more elegant theories like supergravity, which aim to unite all the forces of nature into one beautiful picture. So the huge takeaway here is that some of the most basic features of our cosmos, things we take for granted like gravity, might not be accidents at all. They might be the only way things could have ever been for the universe to be stable and, not just be pure nonsense. It's as if reality itself insists on being logical. And that leaves us with this final massive question. If gravity was unavoidable, a logical requirement for a consistent reality, what else about our universe wasn't an accident? What other fundamental laws had to be this way as inevitable consequences of a cosmos that simply refuses to be illogical? It makes you wonder what else is written into the very blueprint of existence.